Good morning, this is Kat with Kat's Pocket. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Christmas season so far. It has been a very busy one for me. October was my slowest month in sales, meaning it was my lowest revenue for sales. And in speaking with other resellers, they have said the same thing. October just was not a great month for sales. It could have been the election, it could be the economy, it could just be people waiting for Christmas before they spend their money. But anyway, October was not great, and I used that time to get lots of listings up because I knew Christmas was around the corner. So whenever sales get slow like that, I really try to concentrate on listing more, just getting more items in my stores, because there's not really anything you can do other than just wait for sales to pick up. I do the normal delist and sell similar. I do change listings from time to time. There was one item that was a pair of shoes that I knew would sell. It was a pair of Allen Edmonds shoes, and I had them listed for quite a while and wasn't really sure why they weren't selling. So what I did was I took the listing down, I polished the shoes again, made them look really good, and then I retook the photos, and I relisted those shoes, and I increased the price after doing comps to see what the comps were trending. I listed it at a very it was much higher. The price was much higher than it was originally, and they sold. I think I ended up making $45 more on those shoes than I would have normally, because I was just trying to get them to sell. So I was sending out offers, and then I just said, well, wait a minute. These shoes are actually a very popular item. I see these shoes listed a lot higher, and I've seen they've sold a lot higher. So something I'm doing isn't right. So after doing that and selling those shoes, it made me take a look at some other items that were higher valued items that weren't selling. And so that's what I focus on. When sales get slow, I go and revise my listings. I take a look at my inventory. I see what changes I can make to make things flow a little faster for me. And so that's kind of what that's all you can do really when sales get slow. But October didn't go the greatest, but November sales started picking up, and now sales are just have been crazy for me. Since the end of October until now, I've just been selling things that I had listed like a year ago that, you start wondering, are those things ever going to sell? But they eventually do sell. Just about everything eventually sells. So I know there was a lot of items I picked up early on when I started reselling that I really should not have picked up and would not pick up again, but those items still sell. So they're not going to bring as much as the items I source now, because I have more experience than I did initially. But it's just good to see that those items will sell. I just have to be a little bit patient. And now it's Christmas time. People are buying more vintage items. So sales have been awesome so far, knock on wood. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to show you what sold for the month of October. I'm probably going to do another video in the next, I don't really know when, but I'm going to try to get another video out for the November sales, and so that I can get those both posted before December. I know I don't have an awful lot of viewers on these videos, but it's fun for me to share what I sold, and it's also a good motivator and incentivizes me to keep going and do the things that bring me joy. So we'll go ahead and start with this Imperial Ripple Swung Iridescent Marigold Carnival Glass vase in an amber color. These types of carnival glasses, there's all types. There's vases, there's some that are like bowls, there's figurines, and it doesn't bring a whole lot of money usually, but they're fun to pick up. They're really pretty. The lady actually that was ringing me up when I purchased this, she was raving about how beautiful this was. And my buying cost was just a little over $3. This sold really quick for $32. And this one, I believe, is a nicer one. I've seen some that don't really have that much going for them. They're just kind of like plain. But this one really did have so many different color variations depending on how you turned the glass in the light. It was really pretty. Okay, this is a vintage coffee cup. It's a Black Bear Yosemite mug. Again, this is another souvenir mug, but I don't usually pick up souvenir mugs unless they have something special going for it. I did have 3D in the title because this little bear kind of popped out from the mug, and I thought that was a good thing to include in the title. My buying cost was just 79 cents and it sold for $29.98. This, just like the vase, sold pretty quickly. I believe that vase sold in less than a week. This mug took about 2 to 3 weeks to sell. And here is a set of Pier 1 Import Swizzle Sticks. These are glass. My cost of goods was about $2.29. And they sold for $19.98. These took a while to sell. I did have another set of swizzle sticks just like this one from Pier 1, but they had little tropical fish on them, and those ones sold a lot quicker. Here is a plush that I picked up with my plush haul. I have not done another plush haul. I still have a few pieces left, and I'd like to get those sold first before I pick up anything else. So I really haven't even looked at plush, but I will do another plush haul soon because surprisingly plush did well for me. I'm not interested in picking up the ones that only are making a couple dollars. I know there's some people that only sell plush and they do plush in bulk where they're just making between $2 to $4 for each piece. That's really not my thing. I like something that's going to bring me at least $10 to $15 on a smaller valued item. So I will pick up plush, but I'm very selective. This one, my cost of goods was just $2 and it sold for $20. However, the buyer canceled the order shortly after purchasing, so this never went out and I still have this in my inventory. Here is a vintage Pendleton mug. This is another souvenir mug. So there I go, breaking my rules again about picking up souvenir mugs. But I really try not to stick to any hardcore rules because rules are definitely made to be broken. And my teachers knew that about me. No, but I will pick up souvenir mugs if they fit into certain categories like this one did. This is a Pendleton mug, so it had that going for it. It was rare. It had the speckling to it. It was in a nice color. It was more of a stoneware mug, and it had a teepee on the back of it. You guys can't see, but it had a little teepee that said Oregon on the back of it. So this being Pendleton and just being a really cool mug, I went ahead and did pick it up. This sold rather quickly. My cost of goods was just 79 cents. I did accept an offer from Watcher for $20. And I think I had it listed quite high at like $30. But I do have a price range that I stick to when I do accept offers. I look at my cost of goods, and if the price that I'm being offered is within that price range, and there's no other comps to go off of, which this one had no other comps to go off of because this was the only mug like this. So I did accept an offer so I could get it sold quickly. This is a Catherine's plus size layered tunic. I bought this a year ago. It took that long to sell it. I had it listed on Poshmark and Mercari and lots of interest, but no offers. So I did lower the price and it sold for $14. And my cost of goods on that was, I believe, under $2. Here is a hand-painted wooden bowl. This had no branding on it. I didn't know if it was homemade or what the deal was, but I actually had this for myself. I thought it was really pretty. I like polka dots, and it was a large bowl. And so I thought I could use it. I thought I could display it, but there was really no place for it. So I decided it was best to move it instead of gather it up as clutter. I even tried putting my rolled up socks in it and leaving it on the floor, and it just didn't look cozy like that. So my cost of goods was just over $5 and it sold for $39.99. The buyer was really happy with it. She left me a great review. I included in the description tags like boho, I'm trying to think of what else, artsy, things like that to kind of attract buyers. This is a pair of Born boots. These were new without the box. My cost of goods was just over $6, and I did accept an offer from an interested buyer of $32. These went to Wyoming. Okay, this is a vintage Pier 1 Imports oval platter. It had scalloped edges. It had lace cutout all around the edges. It was porcelain, and my cost of goods was just over $3. I believe it was $3.29. And this was a rare platter. I couldn't find any other one. I did accept an offer from the buyer of $29.98. This is a Liz Claiborne blouse. This blouse I've had for a very long time, just like the one I just showed you, the Catherine's. I cleared out a lot of blouses at the end of summer and all the way into October. These were blouses that I had had for a long time, and every year, depending on the season, I have decided to go ahead and clear out like end of inventory items, like summer items or winter items, so that I have more room and I still make a good profit. This one actually I only made about $7 profit on because my buying cost was super low on this, I believe under $1, but I will just try to move the item and get a profit basically if it hasn't sold. And this is a Homestyle Amish Kitchen spiral bound cookbook. This book I sourced for under $1 and it sold at my full asking price for $15. I did have this listed on Mercari and Poshmark. I do source books, but I'm really picky about what I source. This one had a high sell-through rate, meaning there were lots of them sold and not very many listed. And I did list this a lot lower than what they were listed for. They were listed for around $20, the ones that were listed on eBay. And I decided to price mine low and get it sold quickly. Okay, this is a Martha Stewart quilted throw. This is brand new. I did source about 10 of these quilts in all different patterns. And I sourced these on Macy's online when they were like deeply discounted at over 80% off, and sold almost all of them. I do have one left. The one I have left, I believe, is like a cheetah print and it's kind of furry. This one, I did accept an offer from the buyer. I had this one priced up at $69, but I believe I accepted an offer of $39 after looking at the comps and seeing what they were selling for. My cost of goods on this was under $10. Here is a pair of Stuart Weitzman black patent leather ribbon Kitten Hill pump shoes. These were sourced for just over $3. I believe they were 75% off when I purchased them at a little thrift store. And so my cost of goods, just about $3, and they sold for $52. I do have another pair of, actually no, I sold another similar pair. They were a little bit different on Poshmark recently. Okay, here is a set of antique glazed porcelain doll arms. They had little blushings on the hands. They were made in Germany. These had no markings to indicate they were made in Germany, so you really have to do your research so that you make sure and not leave money on the table. These ones, I actually messaged a woman who sold doll parts on Facebook. She has a group, and asked her to confirm because I didn't want to include Germany in the title. And state that they were from Germany if I wasn't sure. And she knew right away. And she said, those are definitely made in Germany. These are made much, the quality of these were just astounding compared. I do have another set of doll arms, and the quality on these it was amazing. So these sold really quick. I had these listed for 2 days and they sold. And I did have these priced up, I believe at $38. I accepted an offer from a watcher of $30. I did buy these doll arms in a box of other doll parts that included doll busts and legs. I believe that there was there was a total of 6 parts, and my cost of goods was under $4 for that box of doll parts. I've already sold another set of legs and a set of arms, and I still have the 2 busts. Okay, here is a Merry Christmas rubber stamp, 2002. It's a vintage, never been used stamp. My cost of goods was under 5 cents. It sold for $6. That was listed for a while. This is a pair of Tommy Bahama Linen Blend shorts. I did source these in July and they did not sell, so I did accept an offer of $27 from the watcher, and my cost of goods was just over $3. Here is a Disneyland Park exclusive Haunted Mansion hat box. This is vintage, and my cost of goods on this was $3.79, and it sold for $59.99. This was listed for just a few weeks. Here is a vintage Baby Gund 1985 light yellow teddy bear with a rattle inside. This is a plush that I sourced with my plush haul, and my cost of goods was I think it was $2 or $2.29. And oh no, this was half price. So I believe I just paid $1, a little over $1 for this. And it sold for $27.98. The buyer left me a good review, but they did say that this was a little overpriced, although they never sent me an offer. I did have best offer on this item, but they didn't send me an offer. I would have accepted, anything like $20 and over. Here is an Inka Dinka Kadu pink flamingo rubber stamp, unused. This has been listed for a while, probably over 6 months, and it sold for $14.99. My buy-in cost was just probably under 5 cents for this. This is one of the stamps I picked up in bulk, which I only will pick up rubber stamps in bulk if they are meaning there's lots of them in a bag bundled up to where my buying cost is very low. Here is a Belique Pottery Woodland Bouquet table lamp with butterflies and flowers, like little appliques. This, of course, is vintage, and it was made in Ireland, stamped on the bottom. And it sold for my full asking price of $64.44. My cost of goods for this was $6. Here is a set of Furry Christmas Cats highball glasses, set of 4. I had these listed a lot higher. At one time, they were listed for $39.99. I dropped the price to $34.99. They still didn't sell. My cost of goods was 79 cents each. So I'm trying to think how much that would be, but probably about $3, a little over $3. And they just didn't sell. So I accepted an offer of $24.98. These went to the East Coast. The buyer actually paid up for the shipping. So she paid probably close to $60 for these glasses. She left me a great review, not a huge profit for me, but moved them out of my inventory. Here is a Violet and Claire 2X tunic. This had a paisley print all over it. It's actually a really beautiful tunic, but it just sat and sat and sat. I think my pictures needed to be revised. And rather than take the listing down and redo the pictures for a couple dollars more, I did accept an offer of $15.99 from the buyer. Or actually, I think I sent an offer out on these. of $15.99. Here's a Sienna Sky soft pink floral lined spaghetti strap little romper. My buying cost was just $1 for this, and it sold for $13. I had this listed in July and it didn't sell, and they don't really go for very much after I did my research, but when I found it for just $1, I thought it was super cute, and I went ahead and picked it up for a quick flip, although it wasn't quick. And here is a Nye and Zoe khaki and white cardigan, open knit sweater, women's size 1X boho. Now this cardigan had some issues to it. I sourced this for just a little under $3. It was like 75% off. There was quite a bit of staining, like little like red dots on this. And it also had some snags. So I had to disclose all of that in the listing description, and it still sold probably from an offer I sent out. I'm not really sure, but this price looks like it was probably a discounted percentage off or something. But I had this listed initially based on the comps of $34.99. The sold comps showed that these were going for anywhere between $39 and $44. However, because of the condition, I had initially listed mine much lower than the comps that I was seeing. Here is a vintage sourdough starter crock with bail lock. I knew that this would sell quickly. These crocks are kind of a dime a dozen, but this one had sourdough written on the bottom, and it was a larger one. And so I knew to pick this up when I saw it. My cost of goods was just over $4. I did accept an offer of $30. I believe I had it priced up at $39. And I had it listed on Mercari and Poshmark as well. Lots of attention. But when I received an offer of $30, I went ahead and accepted it. And it took a couple months to sell. These are a pair of Lands' End women's patent leather scalloped cap toe flats in black suede. These right here have little scallop designs around the edges. Really cute shoes, and they had very little wear. My cost of goods was just over $3. They sold for $24. Here is a pair of Nanette Lepore shoes, embroidered floral boho dusty pink slip-ons in a size 9.5. I originally sourced these for myself, but they were too big. And sometimes I can wear a 9.5 if it's like a high heel or a boot. But these, I just liked them. I did source these on Poshmark for myself, and I really liked the design. I thought they were very like Johnny Was, just very pretty, but they were too big, unfortunately. Sometimes I can wear an 8.5, so it kind of just depends. But I did source these on Posh for $20, and I listed them on eBay, and they sold for $27.99. Here is a opal white hobnail glass hurricane oil lampshade, and this is a vintage little topper lampshade. I did source this for just $1.29, and it sold for $22. It took about 2 months to sell. Here is an Ainsley April daffodil hand-painted fine bone china made in England. It is vintage. A lot of times these will have breakage on the flowers or the leaves, so you really have to check these over really well. This one, I had it listed, I believe, for $34.99. I did send out an offer to a watcher. She tried to go lower, and I said, I'm firm with this price. My cost of goods for this was just over $2. Here is a pet costume, one size, simplicity. It was a Halloween like sewing pattern, like for your pet. I don't sew, but people do. My cost of goods was just 25 cents. As you can see on the outside of the package here, the thrift store that I sourced this from, they wrote it boldly 25 cents, and there was no way to get rid of that. I think they try to discourage resellers, but they are, in fact, a reseller themselves. Anyway, this sold for $7. I had this listed for just a few months. And here is an Anthropologie Fig and Flower women's 3X embroidered button down, 3/4 inch sleeve, flowy, beachy. I sourced this in a haul that I was just sourcing like larger sizes. Certain brands only do well in larger sizes, and Anthropologie isn't one, but Fig and Flower seems to do better for me anyway in a larger size. If I try to sell a smaller medium, it just sits. So I did source several Anthropologie Fig and Flower blouses on this specific day, and my buying cost was just a little over $3 for this, and it did sell for $33. It did take a couple of months to sell because I believe I sourced this in the summer. Here is a bundle set of rubber stamps. These were all compliments. You are one of my nicest thoughts. You are one of my favorite peeps. I decided to bundle these together and move them. My cost of goods was about 3 cents a piece, and they did sell for $8. And these sold probably in 2 or 3 months of listing them. Here is a pair of Westcote Bell art pottery plates. They were signed with the original artist. These had Mustang horses all over them. They were really quite beautiful. They were like salad plate size, but most likely just going to be used for display. My cost of goods was a little over $3 a piece. I did pay up for these. I did have these listed higher as well. I believe I had them listed for $44, and they sat for quite a while. I did accept an offer from a really nice lady of $30, and she left me a really nice review as well. Here is a pair of Easy Spirit Jalen women's slip-on loafers. These were really pretty in person. Like they had like these like hues to them. I'm trying to think of what the word is. I want to say like burnished. They had like a burnished look. Really nice quality. And the new shoes on eBay with box were going for like $60 to $70. However, when I looked at the sold comps, they weren't selling, like the cost of goods on these for me was just $3. But when I went to go comp them, they had like several listed, like probably almost 100 pair of these shoes listed, and not very many sold. And the ones that did sell were the ones that were new in box, and they were going for like $60. But the ones that were like without the box were going for like $20. So when I got an offer of $25, I had just listed these, and maybe 2 days later I got an offer of $25. I went ahead and took it because it was like a quick $20 for me, and the other ones weren't really going for very much. So here is a set of vintage House of Fabric sewing buttons mouse coffee mugs. They had these little cute adorable mouses on them, mice on them, and it reminded me of like when you're like young, those of you who grew up like in the 80s and 90s and you watched like vintage cartoons. These reminded me of the little cartoon mice, and I just thought they were so cute. I don't think I even looked these up or comped them when I sourced them. I just put them in the cart. My cost of goods was 79 cents each, and they sold very quickly for $24 for the pair of them. Here is a Temptations old world blue bundt cake ovenware Jello mold handle. And my cost of goods was about $2, maybe $2.29 on this. I really wanted to get more because I felt like this was a rare color. I didn't see these, but mine was missing the lid. There's actually a plastic lid that goes on here. So I did accept an offer from an interested buyer of $24 and just went ahead and moved it. Here is a pair of Mootsies Tootsies On Hell women's black gold chain pumps, high heels, new without box. I had like mob boss or mob wife, all these different like terms in the listing title, not in the listing title, I'm sorry, in the hashtags, so that people that were searching for shoes like that, these would come up. And my cost of goods was just over $3. They sold for $32. These took a long time to sell. I had these listed on Poshmark, Depop. No, I didn't have them listed on Depop. I had these listed on Poshmark and Mercari. Lots of interest, but no buyers. And so I went ahead and lowered the price, and they did sell for $32, but it took some time. Here is a little vintage metal trivet that said, "Kissin' don't last, cookin' do." And so I just thought it was cute, and I thought that the fact that it had some Amish little characters would, make it pretty interesting. My buy-in cost was 79 cents on this, and it sold for $12, which that price is what they do sell. They sell for around $9 to like $14. So here is a Happy Easter wood-mounted rubber stamp. It had bunnies and butterflies. It was never used. My cost of goods was less than 5 cents. It sold for $5. It took quite a while to sell, but you guys know me. I've got lots of rubber stamps listed, and they just sell when they sell. Here is a vintage solid brass ornate footed pillar candle holder made in Japan. Now this item, my cost of goods was just over $3 on this. And when I sourced it, I remember doing the comps in the store, and they were all over the place. Some people had these listed way up to like, $70, $90, but there was so many of them, like it was highly saturated. And so I just had my price at $34. I just said, if I can make $25 on this item, I'll feel good about that. And that's about what I made on it. It did take probably about 4 months to sell, maybe a little longer. Here's another rubber stamp. This one is a larger stamp, Christmas, Jubilee, and my cost of goods was, probably around 5 cents. It did sell for $9.99. Took some time to sell for sure. Now this is a vintage Thelwell Good Manners 1987. It's a made in England resin pony, comical, whimsical. I had in the title. These little figurines I sourced. I had four of them. I have one left. But I had 4 of them that I sourced for just 79 cents, and they have sold so fast, it's crazy. As a matter of fact, just the other day, I sold one of these on Mercari, but unfortunately, I had already sold it and just forgot or overlooked removing it from Mercari after it sold. So I had to actually cancel the sale and message the buyer. But I have one left. So I have made I have made close to $100 on 3 of these little figurines. So, and like I said, my cost of goods was just 79 cents. So that was a great one to pick up. So if I ever find these again, I will definitely snag those. Here's a Hallmark keepsake Yuletide Harmony Angel tree topper. I sourced this for just a little over $2. It sold for $27. Here's the thing though. I've had this listed for a long time, so I was all happy when it finally sold. But I really felt like I needed to message the buyer, because although I don't have it in the listing title that this lights up, I didn't have it in the description that it doesn't light up. And I didn't want the buyer to be surprised. And so I went ahead and messaged her and just said, I didn't have it in the listing description that this tree topper was not made to light up. There's a little candle that she's holding, but it doesn't light up. And she goes, "Oh, I'm so glad you told me, because this is for my daughter for Christmas, and she really wants the one that lights up." Well, there isn't one that lights up. But I understood what she was saying, and I had to cancel the sale. So I still have this item right here. Hopefully somebody will want a Hallmark keepsake Yuletide Harmony. If they wait like maybe, another year, it'll be vintage. Here is a pair of Inca's Socorro Cactus Desert Black Suede booties. This was a great sale for me because I sourced these for less than $2 and they sold for $42. This is the second pair of Incas that I've sold. I sold another pair of Incas on Poshmark. It was the very first item I've ever sold on Poshmark. I think I sold those for $50 or $55. But anyway, Incas can be really cool. They have these really cool patterns on them. Here is a Starbucks coffee scoop stainless steel measuring spoon. And this is an item that I sourced. I think there's another one. Yeah. I sold both of these to the same buyer and combined the shipping for them. And these two coffee scoops, I paid less than 50 cents for both of those. And they sold really quick. So if you ever see the Starbucks coffee scoops, the stainless steel ones, and you get them for next to nothing, those will sell really quick for you. Okay, here is a brand new Bath & Body Works vanilla scented candle. I will only pick up candles if they are new. Well, actually, I don't want to stick myself with the rule there. If they're not new and they're selling for lots of money, I'll pick it up. This one here was brand new and I got it for less than $3 and it sold for $20. So it was a quick, $10 flip. Here is a pair of, oh boy, what are these? I think these are Clarks. I'm going to have to go take a look. I believe that they are Clarks and they were like brand new. Let me see. Actually, no, they're Naturalizer. These are Naturalizer pumps and they were brand new without the tags. My cost of goods was under $3. They sold for $27. I got all kinds of like lowball offers on these shoes, anywhere from $10 to $15. And I just kept declining it because I knew someone's going to want these closer to the fall. And sure enough, October came and they sold at my asking price. And these right here, I gotta go back and get the name of these boots. These boots I sourced for $20. I had never heard of these boots ever, but my eye was drawn to them because they looked like quality boots from far away. And so when I walked over there and grabbed them, I just said, I don't know what these are. I've never even heard of these. I've never seen these. These are called MBT Manchester women's leather boots. I don't know what they are still, but they when I comped them, they were going for like $250 to $300, and those were the ones that actually sold that were from the retail stores. But I couldn't find these anywhere. They weren't listed for sale anywhere. So I went ahead and listed them, and let me see what I listed them. Okay, I didn't list these as new because I guess I wasn't sure if they were new, even though they looked brand new. I'm looking at the original listing, and I had these listed for $119. And a buyer, she sent me a message and she wanted to know if these boots, if there were white, she said that there's like white specks that she could see. I couldn't see what she was talking about, but she wanted to know if it was like a glare from the photos or if there were white specks on the boots. There was no white specks on the boots, but I pulled them and looked at them just to confirm that there weren't. And anyway, long story short, she sent me an offer of $100 after I confirmed with her. And that was a great sell for me. So $20 into $100. And they sold rather quickly. Here is a pair of American Eagle. These were vintage, like Y2K I had in the title of these boots. And there's like suede, I want to say platform shoes, clogs. They were suede clogs, vintage American Eagle. And I paid $1 for these. And I did have these listed on Depop, Mercari, and eBay. And they took a while to sell actually, but they did finally bring $16. My profit was probably $12 on these, maybe $11 after my cost of goods. Here is a Diana Buckman necklace. And I had this was mine actually, and I never really wore it. I think I wore it like once or twice. Decided to go ahead and list it. I did have a pair of earrings that went with it, but I was missing an earring. So I went ahead and listed these. They sold for $12. I have no idea what I originally paid for those. Here is a pair of, these I believe are Clarks. Let me make sure what these are. Actually, are they Clarks or are they Calvin Klein wedges? Let me look here. These had little textured raised edges, kind of like on the side. And going to be September. Here they are. Cole Haan. I was way off. These are Cole Haan black suede wedges. And I sourced these for less than $3. They were in great shape. They could almost be listed as new, but I wasn't quite sure. And they sold for $30. These took a little longer than I thought to sell. And I usually don't ever pick up Cole Haan because Cole Haan are not big sellers. However, if you can find the Cole Haan shoes in men's or women's that are made in Italy and not China, they can do well depending on the style. You always have to check the style way on Cole Haan shoes. Here's a vintage fringe beaded lampshade. I have sold 2 of these, and both of them ironically sold on Poshmark, I believe. One of them I took an offer from a watcher, which I regret doing that because I really believe I could have held out for a better price. But anyway, this one sold for $40. My cost of goods was under $5 for this lampshade. I do pick up vintage lampshades quite a bit because they tend to sell rather quickly for me. Okay, here is a set. There's just 2 of them that say Faith and Believe. I believe it's missing a bear. There should have been a bear. This was really a bad pickup for me. I don't know why I picked these up. I think I was just picking up everything that was bare that day. Anyway, I think my cost of goods was just a little over $2 each for these. That's why I say this was not a good pickup. These were resin. They're not even wood. And I did accept an offer of $8 just to get these sold. I did get my money back, but I don't think I made a profit, if anything. Okay, these are a pair of Clarks. I know that. These are a pair of Clark Mary Jane, brand new with tags. My cost of goods was $6 for these, and they sold for $40. These had lots of interest, but they took quite a bit to sell. I did see these sold for $60 at one time, and I think I was just holding out for that $60. However, just because something sells at one point or even 2 or 3 points for other people at a higher price doesn't mean that people are still willing to pay that. So let's go to the next one here. This is a bundle item on Poshmark, meaning there were several items that I grouped together for an interested buyer who liked on each one of these items and sent them out an offer. And whenever somebody likes on more than one item, I do send them a deep discount of 30% off or more. So she got a great deal. There was a Dots rubber stamp that was included. It was like pine trees. There was a vintage Disney store dark green Tinkerbell mug that I used for a long time. I sourced for 79 cents, so the stamp was probably less than 5 cents. The Disney mug was 79 cents. And this Pier 1 wood painted cat coat rack, which was vintage. And I sourced that for, I believe, $7. So my earnings on this bundle was $39.70. So that was a pretty good profit there for those. Here's another bundle on Poshmark. And this buyer, she purchased several salt and pepper shakers from me. Here's a Fitz and Floyd Halloween. It's like a scaredy cat, and then some cauldron. And then here's a vintage sunflower pigs and salt and pepper shaker, napkin holder. It's like a trio. And here was a vintage salt and pepper shaker with like seagulls on them, made in Japan. These made in Japan seagull salt and pepper shakers, there's tons of those. These are very oversaturated. Bad pickup on my part, but they just looked really pretty when I saw them. My buying cost for these salt and pepper shakers were probably $2. These Fitz and Floyd ones were probably $2. And then this set right here with the napkin holder, I think my buying cost for all of that was under $5. So probably about $9 total was my cost of goods. I really felt like I let the Fitz and Floyd ones go too cheaply because these salt and pepper shakers were rare. I couldn't find them. And then this set right here also, I felt this whole sale right here, I felt like I let go a little bit too low. I think I should have gotten at least $5 more. So I kind of kicked myself after that, but I still made a pretty decent profit, just not as much as I'd like to. I made like $25 profit on the entire order. And here's a pair of Bionica suede wedges. These shoes brand new will go for like $100 or more, but they just weren't doing well. They weren't comping well when I'd comp them. And I had these purple ones, which I thought were rare, which they were rare, but they just sat. And so my cost of goods was less than $4. And when I received an offer, I went ahead and took it of $22. And here is a no spill pottery mug. And this was signed on the bottom. My cost of goods was 79 cents. I did accept an offer from an interested buyer on Poshmark of $16. And here is a Browning sweatshirt. It's like hunting wear, I think. Anyway, this was a sweatshirt that I picked up at a deep discount. It was $6, so I went ahead and grabbed it when I saw it, and it sold for $34 on Poshmark. Here is a set of brass reindeer. My cost of goods was just $2 for this, and they sold for $20 on Poshmark. This is another item that is very saturated. There's a lot of these little brass reindeers, so I just wanted to make a quick profit and get them sold. Here's a vintage Gone with the Wind 9-inch yellow bouquet oil or electric melon shaped glass lampshade. You guys know that I pick up a lot of vintage lampshades when I see them. This one, my cost of goods was just under $4, and it sold for $55 on Mercari. This one sold pretty quickly for me. And here is a set of Pier 1 Imports, new without tag, gold shimmer champagne striped napkin rings, discontinued. My buying cost was just $1 for the set of 4, and it sold for $15. I had these priced at $20 and accepted an offer from the buyer of $15. On Mercari, I really do try to give the buyer a really good deal because they're at the moment until January, they're going to change this. But at the moment, there is no seller fees, meaning we don't pay a percentage on our sales. We get our full amount. We do have to pay like a $2 fee to cash out, but we don't have to pay the like 20% that Poshmark charges and the 12+% that eBay charges plus the platform fees that you got to pay on eBay. So Mercari, I really try to accept offers if it's a reasonable offer, because I know that I'm still going to make a good profit. However, in January, they're going to change that and they're going to start charging the sellers 10%. Okay, here is a pair of Lucky Brand women's basil ankle boots. I have sold the same style of the basil in the Lucky Brand for over a year now. I've sold this style, and these sold on Depop for $40. My cost of goods was under $6, and those took quite a while to sell. And that is it for October. So October was a pretty slow month for me, so I wanted to show you some of the items that I did sell, and I will work on getting a video up for November sales, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and an amazing weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.